Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Tuesday the 1st of February 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we'll bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1 comes from the Reserve Bank. While expectations were elevated that the central bank would today hint at higher interest rates, possibly this year or next, it did pretty much the opposite. Governor Phil Lowe said the bank was willing to be patient before moving on interest rates, notwithstanding he expects underlying inflation to rise from its current level of 2.6% in coming quarters. While the bank will stop buying bonds, thereby giving greater freedom for longer-term rates to rise, there's still some way to go before the bank starts to tighten monetary policy. In fact, Dr. Lowe said he wanted to ensure accommodative monetary policy settings remain. What's all that mean? No interest rate rises in the foreseeable future. Story number 2 is what financial markets did immediately after the announcement. Equities rose. Companies like low interest rates. It helps earnings. So when the Reserve Bank put a wet blanket on speculation of a rate rise anytime soon, buyers were in the market and the S&P ASX 200 ended the day up 0.5%. It was a day where a lot of companies went up a little bit. In fact, more than 3/4 of the bourse advanced, led by utilities and tech companies. Materials companies were the worst performing. In fact, BHP and Rio fell 3% and 2.3% respectively. The two big miners were the worst two on the market today. Artificial intelligence group Appen and fund manager Pendal were the two best performers, while beetling group Boral rose after announcing a $3 billion special dividend. The Aussie dollar had been rising, but the 2:30 p.m. Reserve Bank announcement put an end to that. It's currently trading around 70.5 US cents. Story number 3 comes out of Canberra. The Prime Minister Scott Morrison was giving a speech at the National Press Club, highlighting the coalition's credentials as strong economic managers and emphasising the strength of the recovery from the pandemic. Then he was asked by a journalist, Peter Van Onselen, about a text purported to be from former New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian to an unnamed current Liberal Cabinet Minister that described Mr Morrison as, and I quote, a horrible, end quote, horrible person, more concerned with politics than people. The minister allegedly called the Prime Minister a fraud and a complete psycho. Mr Morrison said he didn't agree with the comments. No surprises there. Nothing like an election to get things going in Canberra. Story number 4 is the latest property prices from CoreLogic. They show house prices rose 1.1% last month, helped by small gains in Sydney and Melbourne. Brisbane and Adelaide led the way, both rising more than 2% for the month. Hobart and Canberra prices rose more than 1%. If you take the past 3 months, Sydney and Melbourne are clearly underperforming. The steam is running out of those markets. And finally, story number 5 is all about US tech stocks. They hit a low last Thursday, but since then, they've run really hard. Tesla's share price, which has fallen sharply, jumped 10% overnight. Same deal for Netflix. In fact, the tech-heavy Nasdaq ended up nearly 3% this morning. Apple's share price was up 2.6%, and the company is now back to being worth $2.85 trillion, with a T, trillion US dollars. For the month of January, the broader S&P 500 finished down 5.3%. That's the worst monthly outcome since the global financial crisis back in 2008. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 1st of February, 2022. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Wednesday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.